guys, it's Danica, and today I'm going to sit down and talk about what it's like to be a commuting student. I just finished this school year where I commuted the whole entire 2 semesters, so I figured I would just sit down and talk about it because I do get a lot of questions on what it's like and my experiences. I just wanted to sit down and go over some frequently asked questions that I get about commuting to FIT, and hopefully this is going to help some of you guys who are thinking of commuting or are planning on commuting next year. I have all these questions that I'm going to go over, but if I don't answer a question that you might have, feel free to message me on Instagram, and also I'll have my email linked down below. I made one specifically for this channel, so you can always talk to me on there. And yeah, so let's just get into the questions. So the first question that everyone always asks me is why would I put myself through the stress of commuting? And actually, I didn't choose to commute, it kind of just happened that way. I didn't apply for housing for the 2015-2016 school year. So I was looking for an apartment with my friend, the beginning of the school year, and I just didn't find one, and things fell through. And then my dad actually lost his job, so I just didn't want to put that extra financial stress on my family of paying for a $2,000 apartment when I could be saving all that money or just not spending all that money and commuting instead. The applications for housing were actually past due, so I missed the deadline and I didn't get an apartment, so I was well, the only solution is to commute. So I do live at home and I take the train basically every single day. Okay, the next question that I get is, how do I commute to school and how long does it take? I take New Jersey Transit, which is the trailway system in New Jersey, and for me it takes an hour and 20 minutes on the train and then 20 minutes or so to drive to the train station from my house, because there's no train station directly in my town. And I know what you're thinking, oh my god, an hour 20 minutes, that's such a long time, but I am the first stop going to New York and I'm the last stop coming back from New York. There is no direct train line to the station that I take, so it kind of sucks, but what can you do? And an hour and 20 minutes does seem like such a long time, but I actually live only 35 miles from New York City, so it's not actually that bad if I went and drove, but then I would have to pay for parking, the toll, and everything. It's just so much easier to get on a train, sit there, and then boom, an hour, 20 minutes, you're there. There's also a bus line that I can take, but for me the buses are just so iffy. There's always traffic at the toll, and there might be accidents, and just morning rush hour is just such a hassle. So you don't really know what time you're going to get to New York City, but with the train it's always at the same time and it's always so punctual. So I like to, save the guesswork and just take the train. So for me, the train was just the most economical and time efficient way to commute to school. How do I pay for transportation, and is there a student discount? FIT actually teamed up with NJ Transit to create a student pass. So usually the monthly pass for NJ Transit for me would be $450, but because of the student program I pay $337, which saves me a lot of money because I calculated it if I actually just bought each individual ticket, for one-way passes, and it'd be $500, so I am saving a lot of money through the student program. Also, keep in mind that how much you're going to pay for a train pass depends on how far your destination station is from your origin. So for me, since I mentioned, I'm the last stop, so I have to pay the most out of everyone else on the train. What are some pros and cons to commuting? So an obvious pro would be all the money that you're saving by not housing and not paying for the dorms. So it's about $16,000 that you're not taking out a loan for to live on campus. And also when you're living back at home, you're not spending money on groceries for your dorm, all the things to furnish your dorm and everything. And also you're not spending money on other little things like paying for laundry. If you have a washing machine at home, boom, it's free laundry. You don't have to pay $5 every time you want to clean your clothes. So commuting is a bit stressful because you kind of have to plan your whole entire day around when the next train is, and you're always paranoid of when you will get home and have enough time to do your work And also there were always some times when a friend would ask me like, oh, do you want to like go out for dinner like after class or something? And I'd be like, nope, I can't, I have a train to catch and then I have homework to do. But obviously if you were living in the city, you'd be like, oh yeah, of course, I have so much time in the world to hang out after class. Also, the process of waiting for the train platform to be announced, that is just so stressful. Like everyone's just waiting around looking up at the screen and like tapping their foot, and then once the number pops up, everyone rushes to the gate or the door and they're just like trying to squeeze through, and it's just like so like stressful and like gives me such anxiety because you're trying to like run as quickly to the train as possible just so you can get a seat. But you know, after a while I got used to it and I would just push my way through, so that just took a bit of getting used to. Also, I have to get up pretty early. I have to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, leave my house by 6:40 so I can make the 7 o'clock train to get into school for my 9 o'clock class. So, you know, in the beginning it was so hard for me to like get up so freaking early, but now I naturally just get up at 6 a.m. and I feel like I have the whole entire day to do something. Next question is, do you think you're missing out from school events because of commuting? And definitely, I think so. FIT has so many events during the nighttime that I just can't make because it's so late at night. They always have these like movie showings and like game nights at 7 p.m. and it's like, why would I stay to school until 7 p.m. and then I'd stay for like 2 hours and then I wouldn't get home until like 12. I'd rather leave school as soon as possible just so I can get home and do all my homework and, you know, rest and everything. With that being said, I definitely appreciate the events that I can go to, which happen during the school day, you know, like free snacks and like crafting activities. So the next question is, what does FIT do to help commuters? They have lockers available for commuters, so like if you're like me and you carry like so much stuff, there are lockers available. I didn't rent a locker, I wish I did, because they are only like $10 a semester, and that way you can just put all your stuff in the locker, and between classes, if you have free time, you can just explore the city without carrying a big backpack and all your books and stuff. And there's just a bunch of places on campus for commuters to just like chill out before their next class, and they actually opened a new lounge with all these like charging stations, so I always like go to the charging stations and charge my phones right before I go on the train so I have a full battery to entertain myself with. FIT also does a commuter appreciation week where they give out free breakfast and like giveaways and metro cards and stuff to commuters, which I appreciate because, you know, I'm always starving on the train, so when they do give out free breakfast, I like take advantage of it and get that free bagel. Would you recommend commuting? Honestly, it's not that bad. I believe if you're thinking about doing it, then I believe that you can. It's not the worst thing in the world, especially if you're only going to do it maybe 3 or 4 times a week. So the first semester where I commuted, I was only going to school 3 days a week, and that was not bad at all. And then now I commute 4 days a week, and that's not that bad. But next year I'm going to be at campus on like 5 days a week, so I think it's definitely worth it if I dorm, which I do plan on doing. If you plan on taking NJ Transit to commute to school, definitely download the NJ Transit app. There's this section here where it says departure vision, and it shows the board of where all the trains are and what platforms they're going to be on, so it definitely will help you if you're running late. And if you're taking like LIRR, I'm sure there's an app for that too, and I'm sure there's an app for the buses. Would you commute again? Honestly, no, because for my schedule next semester, I'm going to be on campus every single day, so going back and forth to school 5 days a week, that's just not worth it for me, because I'd rather have the ease of being on campus and everything. I think if you are only going to school like 2 or 3 or 4 times a week, it's definitely worth it to commute, but like 5 days, that's kind of pushing it. So So those are all of the questions that I get about commuting. Hopefully this video was helpful for you. If I didn't answer a question that you might have about commuting, just leave them down below in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. Leave your video requests down below and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!
Wait a bit around.